And now I'm going to tell you this much right now. When they play next year, are you going to tell me that they're going to play next year? There's not going to be any players that are COVID positive out there on the field? Of course there will be. But the difference is, if they're asymptomatic, they can go play. Because at that point, we've figured out who's vulnerable, how to protect them, how they can protect themselves. And we figured out, too, that a lot of this stuff that we did was completely unnecessary and over the top. The toughest thing that's going to happen for people are the people who just, they can't let go of the whole COVID stuff. People that want to, that still want everybody to be masked up. Got to wear your mask still. Those people. I mean, they're not going to know what to do with themselves without being able to without being able to shame people and yell at people for not wearing a mask, even though there's no reason to. So to me, the NFL and college football especially, and now in college hoops, you're seeing the same thing. And I bet you when we get to the NCAA tournament, the protocols will be relaxed again. And it's hilarious to me. What's hilarious to me is how, people that said these things 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever, all were like criticized harshly and severely destroyed for saying these kinds of things as being irresponsible and reckless. And all of a sudden, two things have happened. One, the polling data has gone way, way, way the other way, and people are done with it. And so now all of a sudden the internal polling for these people, these politicians that are trying to win the midterms, they understand that they need to relax a lot of this stuff if they're going to have any shot at all. There's that. But the other part of it is, and I think the other part of all of this stuff is, a lot of these people that spoke out year and a half ago and were shouted down and all this other stuff, they've been proven right. I can think of Kim Mulkey, she was the Baylor women's basketball coach, and now she's the LSU women's basketball coach, but she was in the Elite Eight. They lost a tough game to, I think it was Connecticut, and afterwards she said, hey, for the Final Four, we need to stop testing. Let these girls just, let them play. You've basically ruined the experience for them with all of these rules and this and that and everything. And I'd hate for a team to lose a key player. To COVID testing. And people, of course, they ripped her to shreds for saying what we all knew and were thinking anyway. So, to me, the NFL and the NFLPA coming up with these, COVID protocol stuff, it's the best thing because hopefully we're in a situation of where, we can say, hey, now we need to follow the lead. Follow their lead. Follow the leader. Follow their lead. Whatever you want to say. And really make it so that it's important for everybody else. Because sports has been really the like I said, they've led the way in terms of getting us out of this mess. In terms of, showing that we can live normal lives and we're not have to, live completely in fear of all this stuff. So the fact that the NFL and the NFLPA have come up with this, I think it's tremendous. It's 2 years. It's at the very least a year too late, and I would argue even a year and a half too late. But nevertheless, the other question now becomes, does this mean they go back to Latrobe? I would think it does, but again, I also want people to understand that I don't necessarily know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, seriously. The Steelers, obviously, the NFLPA, they nixed the idea of going to Latrobe last year. But what I would tell you is The players don't want to go there. So even though there's no COVID protocols, I don't necessarily know if that, I don't know if that means that they're definitely going to go back or not. I think what's going to happen is there could be, a little bit of a confrontation between the owner, the coaches, and the players. The owner and the coaches want to go back to Latrobe, and I hope they go back. I think it'd be really good for them. And so that's where I would go and say, we need to, I would say that we need to be careful assuming that they're just going to go back, because I don't know that they are. But it would be good for them to go and get back into the swing of practicing in Latrobe. It's good for the economy up there in that town. It's good for the little bars in that town, the restaurants, all the little businesses there. It's good. People come up, they go, the fans go up there, and there are people who try and poo-poo the idea that, it can't be that much. It is. That's a 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it is where, that economy has has a lot more people in that going through that town than normal. And not to mention the fact that the Steelers and all their coaches and their families and everything else, there's a lot of people that are not normally there up there and riding through there, getting something to eat and, getting gas there and buying stuff at the convenience stores and buying stuff at the restaurants and stopping at the bars and everything else. So let's hope that it really, really does. They do go back. But I need to see the Steelers make an announcement before I believe it.